Hi everyone, my name is Dr. P, short for Perkinson, and I'm so excited that you're joining me here today. And first and foremost, I just want to say a big hats off, bravo, and thank you to all the educators out there who are doing so much to ensure that our students are continuing to play and learn despite everything that's going on. I feel really lucky to be a part of such a thriving musical community, and thank you for all the hard work you've put into continuing our students' education through a pandemic. And students, hats off to you too for hanging in there. I know it's not easy, but thank you. So I wanted to give a few notes on this second excerpt for NMEA. So first of all, just let's talk a little bit about the context. This Gopak is actually it's probably pronounced more like Gopak. My colleague can tell you for sure, Professor Smola, but it's based on a Ukrainian dance, a traditional Ukrainian dance. And I've actually included a link in the notes if you're interested to see what it looks like. But it's always into, and it's light and lively. And this actual piece was the very last piece that Mussorgsky composed of a comic opera. So it's really meant to be light and lively. Now with that, in terms of the tempo you choose should be the tempo that you sound best at, because the judges are going to be much happier with a performance that's clean and solid rather than a performance that's really fast but not too clean. So with all those things in mind, at the opening, be sure that is light and off the string if you're able, and playing it in third position helps keep the color the same. If you're not comfortable with third, go ahead and play it in first. So we have this piano, and then right away we have a subito forte. So here's your chance to use some of your vibrato and bring out all of those forte notes. Use more bow to get more sound. The next section, measure 61. So you're going to start off really piano and then do a sforzando on the next downbeat. Now the trickiest part about this is, even though there's dots, don't try to take it off the string. If it's fast enough, it'll naturally come off the string. And if it's not fast enough, just play it as written. It'll be a nice stroke regardless, but don't force it to come off the string. When you get to the sforzando on the downbeat, you want to do a really quick movement with your arm. So it has to be a movement coming from the upper arm. You can't be lazy about it. Okay, you can't, and then just hope that you get there in time. So really quick. And then when you do the pizzicato, make sure you use the fleshy part of your pointer finger so you get a lot of meat on there, and then it can really sound much better than something like just with the tip of your finger or even the nail. And if you can, vibrate on that quarter note. That'll bring it more life. So when we go on, we have a mezzo forte in the upper half. So we use a little bit of bow at the beginning and then a lot more at the end, so we get that sforzando and crescendo. And then the same thing. And then we get to this section and we start piano again. The tricky part about this right here is the intonation. So it's chromatic. So there's a lot of half steps here, and I've marked all the half steps in. There's a couple whole steps too. So what you really want to be careful of is that every note has its own individual pitch and that they're not kind of smearing together. And something that might help you with the intonation is remembering that the higher up you go on the fingerboard, the closer the half steps get. Just by a little bit, but it's definitely noticeable to your fingers, okay? So the half step right here, the first one, there's even a tiny bit of space, a little bit that you can see with a microscope. Here, There's hardly any space. So just keep that in mind. If you have a piano, you can plunk along to make sure that it's really in tune, because that's what the judges are going to be listening for. Not only that, but there's a crescendo. So, and then a sforzando at the very end. So really kick that note. If you can, add a little wiggle at the end if you can as well. And then when we get to 4, we have this theme. So really hearty, really rustic. Again, it's based on a dance, and the dance moves are incredible. So it's almost like your bow and your left hand is doing a little dance as well. So it should still feel, you know, heavy but light at the same time. So forte, but also with a nice, bright, lively feel. And then we have a subito piano. So do your best to even crescendo if you can, so it's a real surprise at the piano, like that. And it's just a little stroke, very light, will get you that piano. You don't have to use much pressure there, it's just kind of a touch. And then make sure you count this next part correctly. And when you come in, I would suggest, if you're comfortable, doing the B, A sharp in 3rd position, so you can then do the A with a 2nd finger and stay on the same string. Avoiding this, because that's quite a stretch in 1st position, a low 1 to a 4th finger. So try it in 3rd if you're comfortable, and decrescendo. And then this next part, we have the triple stop. So this goes for all the triple stops. If you're comfortable playing all 3 notes at once, great, go for it. But just make sure that they're all going to sound at the same time. And the best way to do that is close to the frog and also a fair amount of pressure. If you just do it light, not all the strings will sound at the same time. But if you do all with a lot more pressure, they all go down. So they'll all sound at the same time. If you're not comfortable playing the triple stop, that's fine. You can just play it as a double stop with the top 2 notes. Like that. That goes for all the triple stops. One other note, if you're not comfortable with double stops, just play the top note, okay? So the most important thing is that you're comfortable and it sounds good. Judges are much more going to be happy if they hear something that sounds great but may not be all the notes, rather than an attempt to play all the notes but just sounds really out of tune and kind of, you know, gives you a hard time. So do what's most comfortable for you. And then we come to another chromatic session. This part, go ahead and practice it 1 bow per note at the beginning. And then just make sure again that it's super in tune. And that the notes aren't melding together. Okay? And then when it feels comfortable and in tune, go ahead and add the doubles. Here we have the double stops again, and a quadruple stop thrown in there. So same idea. If you're comfortable, go ahead and play all the notes. If not, no worries. As we continue, right here in measure 92, 93, if you do play the triple stop, just leave 4 and 2 down, and then leave it down. You just add the 1st finger. It'll make your life a lot easier. In measure 95, I would say the transition from 95 to 96 is one of the trickiest parts in this excerpt. And so what I like to do in 95 is, instead of playing a triple stop, just play the top 2 notes. And that avoids having to use that 4th finger, which we then have to almost immediately do double time with the next couple of 5ths coming up. So measure 95, quickly jump up on the fingerboard, put the left hand down, and then add the right hand. So shift, make sure the left hand is down, and then quickly bring the right hand over. So for me, because, I have kind of small pinky, for this fourth finger, fifth, it's really hard for me to pancake it and flatten my fourth finger over both strings. I can do it, but it's not that clear. So what I prefer to do is play the D and then do a quick jump. So you can practice that really slowly. And then as you get it quicker and quicker, you can even incorporate rhythms like that. So when I talk about rhythms, this whole next 16th section, you can use all different variations of rhythms because it is a little tongue-tie with the left hand and the right hand. Always remember the left hand needs to move before the first hand for it to be super clean. So if we start at right before 96, we do the rhythm long, short, short. And now we do the opposite, short, long, short, long. And then you can just work on those couple of rhythms, try to do them faster and faster, and then you can get more creative. The first of every 4 is long, so. And then the first of every 2 is long. And then the third note of every 4 notes is long. And then the last note of every group of 4 is long. So I would suggest practicing all those different rhythms. And before you do a rhythm, it's really easy just to dive right in and say, okay, long, short, I can do that. Let me try it on my violin. But it's really important that you conceptualize that rhythm in your brain first, because if it's not up here, there's no way it's going to get here. So when you think about long, short, say to yourself, ta, 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 ta. And then it's easy to. If you say the first of every 4 is going to be long next, then it's ta, 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 ta. Okay, I can do that. So make sure you actually hear that rhythm and even sound it out before you try it. Okay, and then at 6, we have a piumoso. So you want to make sure that the judges know that you know that piumoso means a little bit faster, moving forward. So as right after you finish that downbeat at 6, think about the tempo moving forward. So 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2. And then at the end, feel free to do a quadruple stop with vibrato and do a big crescendo as much as you can with the. If you want, when you practice it, you can even look at your, for the visual control, you can look at your right hand. In fact, I like to do that here. Just actually look to make sure you're gonna nail that pizzicato. So there's some more tips on the notes that I've included with this excerpt. Feel free to reach out if you would like. I'm always happy to meet and talk with prospective string students, majors or non-majors at UNO. And thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you all, teachers, educators, and students, for all of your hard work, and good luck to the students on the audition. Thank you.